Hey y'all, and welcome to another day of VEDA. Today is April 18th, and this is going to start what I call our Whip It Out Wednesdays. I was thinking about it, and even though we may get a regular podcast in, once we get to June and the rest of the summer, it's probably going to have to be themed days where I will record at least a topic for that day. And I think Wednesday, since, Wednesday and WIP are both W's, will make Wednesday our Whip It Out day, and potentially Friday might be our finished off Fridays. I don't know. Maybe mail day Mondays. Anyways, those are just a few ideas I had, and we'll start today with our Whip It Out Wednesday, and we'll continue that through the rest of this month. So there's only, I think, 1 or 2 more Wednesdays, but that will at least get us set off onto the right foot. And I'm not exactly sure how we will be recording over the summer, but there's either a good chance that I'll just record these segments on the day that they need to be and then put it all together and release it once a week or once every couple weeks, or I may just release the little segments as I get them, as it hasn't been too bad recording this for this month, as I've been recording usually during nap time and then posting it when everybody goes to bed pretty much for the night. Today, I believe I have 6 things to share with you. There are my 2 spinning projects that I'm doing with the drop spindles, which I am not finished with, but even though I have done a little progress on them, I haven't done anything really noticeable. So like my Merino Silk project and my Black Mountain Welch project, I just have the photos from last week. I don't have new photos, and hopefully, again, at least the Black Mountain Welch I'll have done soon, but right now I don't. And as for my other spinning whips for the week, I have my first spindle of the yarn that I have spun with my electric eel wheel, and this is the standard version, or the 5.1. And I think my son said, I think we asked Google and it came out to 31 grams because we took the weight of a typical bobbin and subtract the weight of this bobbin. So we got about 31 grams of this is a Shetland sheep, I think is what the bag said. And this was just, I had gotten it as a pound and had already pre-drafted. I believe this was actually for Jeremy's spinning that he never did. And so I just used that. I had gotten a pound of this Shetland, I think a pound of Corriedale, and I gave him the cheaper one, so I want to say the Corriedale was just a little more expensive. I don't really remember now. So this is the Shetland, and I'm trying to decide if I am going to take this off the bobbin now and then work on plying it, or if I'm going to go ahead and add to this bobbin so I have more to ply to. So if you want to let me know what you think, obviously 31 grams isn't a lot, but I can blend it with something else if I decide to ply it, or I can just ply it with itself and then try and dye it. So yeah, that's just kind of some of the ideas I have with that current project. The second thing that I am working on is, again, with the electric eel wheel, or my spinning project, and that is out of a rose made fiber. The rose fiber is made out of, rose petals that they have ground into a powder, and then they make a fiber from that. And so its content is, I think it was something like 38% merino in a candy floss color, and then 25% of the rose fiber, 25% bamboo, and then the leftover is faux cashmere, which I didn't realize that this also used the faux cashmere. So with this being a 50% plant-based fiber, or plant-based spin, I probably will be using it as the yarn that I will use in a project in my May-June part of the Fiber Quest in the Yarn to Table podcast group. And if you didn't know about that, you can watch some of my other videos. I discuss that. Right now we're in the not land of camelids, the land of goats, which is your mohair and cashmere. I haven't actually weighed this when I started, so I'm not exactly sure how far I am, but I believe it was 4 ounces or roughly, so that's about 114 grams. And I did have my son weigh the bag that's left over so far, and we came up with something like 75 grams left, so we'll go with I'm roughly about 1/3 of the way through this, which is some awesome progress since I've only been working on this since this weekend, since I finished the Shetland that I had at my dad's, and I wrought this rose fiber, which I pre-drafted in the car ride up there. So yeah, my pants totally covered in pink little fuzzy fibers. So that's it for my fiber spins. And then as for my crochet projects, I am working on Jeremy's sweater, which I did get to section 2 of the pattern. This is the River Coast sweater, and I will have the link to my project page down below. And just a reminder, this is out of Hirschner's 2-ply Afghan yarn in the color Root Beer, and I think it's with an E hook. It's neither E or F, I can't remember, but yeah, it's one of those hooks. I am also working on the thing I forgot to mention last week, and that is it's my recreation of my failed project test, and it is a mini bean stitch. Right now, it's just being done as a scarf, and it is in a mandala cake. I may end up doing this as a blanket. I haven't exactly decided. I think I'm just going to make these strips in the mandala and see kind of where that gets me to, and then if I can get enough strips and think they look good together, I might go ahead and connect those strips into a blanket. But that's just kind of an idea I had. I will link to my project page for this, and this will link to the original pattern, which is a pay-for pattern. But like I said here, pretty much the thing that I took away from the pattern is just the knowledge of the stitch. And I really didn't follow any of the rest of the pattern for my version that hopefully will become a blanket or at least a scarf at some point. And since the mini bean stitch is just a general knowledge stitch, because I looked it up on YouTube actually. So yeah, no secret there in the stitch. And yeah, I am doing it in the DK weight yarn with an eye hook, which is just really odd to be using such a big hook for such a fine yarn, but I did look and the guppy yarn is also a DK weight, so I may end up looking for a good guppy yarn color to combine all my section strips together if that turns out to work out. I'm not exactly sure if I can find a color that will work well with all the colors of mandala cakes, because I don't even know if I'll use the same color of mandala cakes or if I'll use different cakes, kind of like I did my sidewalk shawl. I used 2 different cakes of Karen cakes for that. So that's kind of what I was thinking, is that I'll make strips with just different colors, and then I don't know, the dolphin of course could be a contender for something to tie it all together, but I think that might just not be bright enough. So yeah, we'll see what I decide to go with, because I do think I'd want something all one color to put the segments together and not something multicolored. So that's what I'm currently working on for the Cakewalk Cal, which has started, by the way. And my last 2 WIPs for this week are 2 other test projects. One is already up on Ravelry as a free pattern currently. I'm not sure if she changes these patterns when she's done testing them, so I should go and look at the other ones maybe. This is the one that I tried to test before that I already did something similar to, but this time it's not something I've done something similar to, and since I wanted to be able to enter this into the autism awareness cal, I have decided to do my Lilac Washcloth. Yes, I know, doesn't really scream bright orange, but I am doing it in the hot orange colorway from Sugars and Cream, and I've only just started it. The pattern is kind of written in a way that's not very screen reader friendly, which I come across a lot, so that's nothing unusual. It just took me a little while to figure out where exactly I was supposed to start or how many stitches I was supposed to have in that first row, so I didn't get very far in that. But I'm also working on another stuffy toy, and this is out of the remainder of my kaleidoscope yarn. Oh, and the washcloth I am also using my eye hook for, which is the same hook from my mini bean throw, kind of. Well, I guess it's not the throw, but my mini bean project. Anyways, and this other stuffy that I am working on is an octopus type shape. And I'm going to kind of leave that a little more vague at the moment until I have a little more information or the test is near completion. But I am doing this out of the remainder of the kaleidoscope colorway that I made the boys' little ear flap hats out of earlier in the month of February. So I'm just trying to use up some of this leftover, and I am using my new G-hook with this project. And that's all I have this week for my WIPs. So I hope you can join me tomorrow for another day of VEDA. Talk to you later, guys.